Boro win their 5th game from their first 6 for what I believe is the first time in our history and extend our lead at the top of the Championship. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Project Boro, and what a night it was at the Riverside as Boro swept aside West Bromwich Albion by 2-1 in another fantastic evening, another fantastic win against a very, very good team. I've got to say, a team who I think have looked probably the toughest we've played so far. Definitely the most hard-fought victory we've had so far. But once again, this Boro team find a way to win. They manage the game brilliantly and they keep their 100% record at home intact, extending our lead at the top for now. Obviously, a lot of the teams play tomorrow, but it's great knowing that you can go into your weekend seeing your team sitting top of the Championship and nobody can get near us. 5 wins from 6. It's an incredible start, beyond our wildest dreams, but as I say, one that we had to really work hard for. But the big thing was that if you could have picked 2 goal scorers, you probably couldn't have picked 2 more perfect goal scorers than Strelets and Kali Sen, who both got their Boro careers up and running with goals in this one. So a fantastic win at the Riverside under the lights. Now, there were changes heading in to this game. We are starting to suffer a little bit with centre-back injuries, which is always a worry at Boro. When we lose one, we seem to then lose them all at once, it would appear. We did have George Edmondson coming in for Darragh Lenihan. I've heard varying reports on what the injury is. The initial rumours were that it was a serious recurring Achilles injury that's kept Lenihan out. Edwards was a little bit more ambiguous after the match, didn't really elaborate, so that could mean a number of different things, but that meant that, of course, we have Dale Fry out and Darragh Lenihan out. So we did have a different back three once again with Edmondson at the heart of it. He didn't last the whole game because he went off with a head injury and his eye ended up blowing up pretty much, so he couldn't see out of it. So that should be one that hopefully settles down and means he'll be fine to play if needed next weekend. But, of course, that was the only change in defence. We did see changes up front, though, and as we hoped, as we wanted to see, we did see Strelets and Nipan in from the off, with Morgan Whittaker dropping to the bench. The right decision for me with everything that has been going on. However, we didn't quite see them in the order that we maybe hoped. Once again, it was Tommy Conway playing off of Strelets, who was up front. Now, as we thought it probably would be, this was the exact type of game I think we thought it would be. You know, you looked at both teams, we discussed it in the preview, I chatted on the opposition show, the opposition preview show on the Boro Breakdown to a West Brom fan. It very much seems like this was 2 teams who have started the season really well, neither of which are the most creative teams in the league, but they both have something in common, and that is that they are very organised and they do not give up much. That was the case for the first half. It felt like a real arm wrestle between 2 sides who had openings, had opportunities, but they were clearly, struggling to break the other down. Both defences were extremely organised, and it felt like it was always going to take a moment to, see the game out, a moment of brilliance or a mistake or something, out of the blue that might split the 2 sides in the end. Although West Brom could have, maybe should have, been in front within the first minute or 2. There was a shot from outside the area, great touch from Nat Phillips, who sort of blocked the shot. I don't know where it was going, but Bryn had already committed to diving. Phillips had pretty much half a goal to aim at. I think Edmondson put him off, which means he shot towards Bryn, who was already down, and made the save with his legs. So thank God Nat Phillips shot directly at where Sol Bryn was, because it would have been very difficult for the goalkeeper to react in any other way, in any other direction, had he shot in the opposite corner. So Boro had an early scare that they survived through a good save from Sol Bryn. But then we settled into the game, and I think for the first half, they had little moments, but I think Boro dominated it for the most part, had lots of the ball, couldn't really break West Brom down. I know a few people have made a bit of a point of it, and again, Boro's lack of creativity, but for me, I do think that's a more general thing that Boro can definitely improve on. But I think for this game, individually, you've got to give respect to the opposition and just how solid of an organised unit they are. And it was very difficult for Boro to break down West Brom at times. We did have a couple of opportunities. Conway got down the left-hand side, had a shot saved. Nipan also cut inside, really good feet, had a shot wide of the mark. But we did get the lead on 26 minutes, and the one man I wanted to see score got himself off the mark. David Strelec with his opening goal. And this was really interesting because I was saying during the game, I noticed, and I've noticed this as a trend, and I've seen it mentioned a few times throughout the last week or two, long throw-ins are really coming back into football. The number of long throw-ins we're seeing across the game is crazy. They had quite a few in the first half. I can't remember the last time I ever seen Boro do a long throw-in. It was like a staple of the Tony Pulis years, which we don't want to think back to, when we'd have Ryan Shotton taking a long throw at every given opportunity. This was the first time I've seen Boro do it in a long time. Edmondson come all the way over, changed the ball, picked up a new ball, and just before that, before the throwing, as the ball went out, I clocked Harry Watling on the touchline do the sort of the throwing gesture. So he instantly thought this is a chance for us to maybe do the long throw. And so once Watling did that, Boro changed what they were going to do, got Edmondson over. So Watling, I don't know if many people noticed, mate, but you deserve credit for this one. He's the one who said, let's give the long throw in a go. We did. Edmondson, near post, brilliantly flicked on by Luke Ayling. And like the deadly poacher, the deadly shooter that he is, David Strelec was in the right place at the right time to toe poke it home to give Boro the lead on 26 minutes, and it was a fantastic way for him to start his Boro career. The rest of the half kind of petered out. After that, of course, as I said, Boro did have to make a change. Unfortunately, with Edmondson going off, he suffered a bit of a head injury and then tried to carry on, and his eye just swelled up so he couldn't see out of his left eye. So we had to change the team around. That meant Sammy Silvera came on. We slipped Matt Targett in to left centre back. Thankfully, it was a good change because it didn't really make Boro's defence any weaker. They did try and definitely target our left-hand side after that West Brom, especially at the start of the second half, but the first half petered out and Boro went in with a very good but narrow 1-0 lead. And then we saw something that, well, surprised a lot of people. Now, we never used to see half-time substitutions under Michael Carrick when we were losing games. We're seeing them under Rob Edwards, even when we're winning games, because he decided to make a change at half-time, which was a very big surprising one. David Strelec was brought off and Kali Sen was brought on because he felt like we needed a bit more pace up front. I completely agree. As much as it was great to see Strelec get off the mark, he wasn't involved in the game all that much. I would like him to maybe, once he settles, get involved a bit more. But that's why I think, I'm not trying to get into individual players too early in the video, but that's why I would still have, and I still would push for Strelec playing as one of the 10s and Conway being up front, because Conway, he presses like a dog chasing a ball, and he was doing it in the 10 position all half long. Strelec wasn't as involved playing up front as the 9. Now, I'm not going to complain because he might not have scored otherwise, but I still would think it would better suit Conway to be the out-and-out 9 pressing from the front and Strelec to be one of the 10s alongside Nipan or whoever, because second half he brought on Sen to give us that little bit more energy up front and that little bit more press, and it was another inspired change by Rob Edwards. Everything he's touching at the minute seems to be turning to goal. But before Boro got that second goal, West Brom come out second half and were brilliant. The first 15 minutes, I thought it was a matter of time before they scored, if I'm honest. They come out second half, again, they continued to be really neat and tidy in possession. They seemed to really block out Boro's midfield, and we couldn't play out at all. So we just kept having to play it long. And Sen was struggling to hold the ball up. I still think he needs to, adjust to the physicality of the Championship. But the ball just kept coming back to us because we just could not string a couple of passes together. We couldn't play out. So it just kept coming back time and time again. We have to defend our box over and over. And I thought it's a matter of time before West Brom score here. They were really starting to get a huge bit of momentum in the game. It looked like they were the most likely to score. And then out of nowhere, at the perfect time to score a goal, the definition of the perfect time to score, Boro made it too. And it was Kali Sen who did it. First goal off the bench, brilliant substitution again from Rob Edwards. Another one that paid off brilliantly. And this was a beautiful goal. We talk about Boro not being creative enough. We talk about what we've gained this season, what we've maybe lost from last season, and how technically good we were going forward, how pretty we were going forward, how we've maybe lost that under Rob Edwards. This was a reminder of what this team can do. This was a reminder of the potential of what this team can do, because the build-up play leading up to this was absolutely sublime. We nearly scored a little bit earlier from a similar nice little bit of one-touch football when Nipan unleashed a rocket from miles out that was tipped over the bar, but Kalisen got us the second goal via some beautiful, intricate play between Morris, Sen, Conway, Hackney, played back across by Conway, a little flick by Hackney into Sen, who bent it round the defender in off the post, and it was the absolute perfect time to score, and it gave us a 2-0 buffer that in the end proved to be immensely important, because that was the one time to score, and you'll see on the momentum bar on screen, West Brom had a lot of the second half. The one brief period Boro had, we made sure we took it and we scored. I mean, West Brom, another chance they had just before that, Isaac Price, the key man, had a header that he headed wide. Should have probably done better from that. I think Diakite had a chance later on that was straight at Sol Bruni, did very well to get down and save it. So West Brom did have chances second half. They did have chances after Boro went 2-0 up. But for the most part, we were managing the game pretty well from there on in. We had to defend and be very concentrated. We had to spend a lot of time without the ball, out of possession, defending crosses into our box. Edwards made some more really good substitutions to shore up the game. The second we went 2-0 up, he took off Tommy Conway, brought on Alan Brown to give us a three-man midfield with Hackney sort of pushing into the 10 a little bit. And then once again later on, he made more changes to shore up the defence, bringing on Morgan Whittaker. We've got a great reception after Kante as well for Hayden Hackney. So again, great substitutions by Edwards to just help us manage the game, and he's taken no time to make them. As I say, as soon as we scored our second, bang, change was made. He really is on the ball with his substitutions, which is great. However, it wouldn't be unlike Boro, would it, to not make it a little bit nervy towards the end, and Hegerberg got his first West Brom goal on the 90th minute across from the left-hand side. I think it was Micah Johnston who was a real threat in the second half. They were absolutely bombarding balls into Boro's box. This one did meet its target. Could Sol Bryn have come out? Maybe. Hegerberg gets there ahead of him, brings in no man's land. But I'm not going to criticise Sol Bryn too much, because he made some fantastic saves in this game that certainly made a huge difference. But despite Hegerberg making it a slightly nervy end for Boro, the 5 minutes that were added on did go by, and Boro once again held out for another huge victory at home. 3 wins from 3 at the Riverside for Boro. 1-0 win at Swansea, 1-0 win at Sheffield United, and a 2-1 win against West Brom. And as I say, this I think was the toughest of the lot. West Brom were, I thought, a very good team. They were very organised, they looked tidy in possession. I can see why they'd want a bit more in the final third, but they still did have some big chances that on another day they could have, maybe, should have put away. But Boro found a way to win once again, and we go home with all 3 points. Here are the stats. West Brom did end up having more of the ball. I think the second half definitely contributed to that. Boro, though, did edge the XG, did create the high quality of opportunities. We had less shots, but more on target. 3 big chances to West Brom's 0. So they had a lot of shots, but we limited them to not the most high quality of shots. Boro did have the bigger chances in the game. So again, can we create more? Yes. Would I like us to create more? Absolutely. Is it something that's keeping me awake at night and worried that Boro's season is going to curtail off and things are going to fall apart because we're not creating enough chances? Not one bit. I'd like to think there's more to come. We're going to improve, and that will be a part of this Boro team evolving. And let's not forget, we've got a ton of new players in them attacking areas to still bed in. Strelets made his first start. Kalisen is new to the league, has got a lot of learning to do. Nipan had his first start today. I still think we're not quite playing all 3 in their best position. So there's still a lot of time for Boro to really find the perfect front 3 and knit all that together. So I'm not too worried at this early stage that Boro's attack or creativity isn't flowing unbelievably well. There's still time for that to improve, as there is with all of the teams. Even the best teams in the league with, attacking riches beyond belief, like the Southamptons of this league and the Ipswiches, they're not into gear creatively as yet. So it's not a worry that I have for Boro all that much. The difference is, Out of all the teams that are still trying to figure themselves out, as most teams probably are, Boro are finding a way to win and are banking the points up, which is absolutely imperative. Talking about some of the individual performances then, I've mentioned a few of them already. Saul Bryn was busier in this game than I think he has been in a lot of the games, did make some big saves. I mentioned the one within the first minute, also the low save he made from Diakite's shot. I thought the defence did really, really well. I think especially given the fact that they had to be, there was changes before the game with Lenihan and Fry out. Then we had to make changes again with Target slipping in at left centre back and Silvera coming in at left wing back. I was a bit worried at first when that happened, but fair play to Boro. We managed it well. No issues from me in defence. Luke Ayling got man of the match. Again, I thought he was absolutely terrific, was Luke Ayling. He continues to have an immense start to the season. I thought the midfield too were decent. They didn't have it all their own way in this game, but looked tidy in and around it. Hackney got a great assist for our second goal as well. The wing backs I thought were fantastic. Didn't see as much down the left, of course, with Target moving in, but I thought Callum Britton, as he did in the last home game, I thought was absolutely brilliant. He has got an amazing pair of lungs on him. He gets up and down that right-hand side so much. He provides a great attacking threat. He's also really solid at the back. I definitely think he is probably the best player in his position in the league is Callum Britton. He can do a bit of everything at right wing back, which is great. And then the front three, I thought all had pretty good games. As I say, Strelet's got his goal, which is the most important thing. Would have liked him to be a bit more involved. Still think that will happen if he's played as one of the 10s, if they swap him with Conway. But Conway himself, to be fair, I thought, put himself about and never stopped running, never stopped chasing, and played a key part in the second goal as well. And Nipan, I thought, was a real tidy presence up front. So good on possession with the ball at his feet. Had two good chances, one from range, one in the first half and just outside the box. He's just a player with such quality who, when he has the ball, you have no worries he's going to lose it. He was just so reassuring and so pleasant to watch, which was great to see. And as I mentioned, the subs all had fantastic impacts on the game. Silvera coming in at left wing back, Kalisen getting his goal. I thought Alan Brown did really well when he come on as well to help us see the game out. And it was good to see Whittaker get a good reception, and it was also good to see Abdoulaye Kante on the pitch at the end as well. So let's take a look at the table, shall we? Now, I don't like to get too carried away until 10 games in. You guys know that. But I'm not going to turn my head away from this. Boro top of the league, 5 wins from 6. And as I said at the top of the show, and I won't take credit for this stat. I saw it was from Craig Johns, good friend of the pod. He put this out on, I think, the Gazette, might have been on X. He mentioned that it is the first time Boro have won 5 of our opening 6 games in our history, which is an insane statistic. And I'd love to know how many teams have actually managed to do this just in the Championship in the last few seasons. But even if things do go slightly south, we hit a bump in the road, which will happen, it is so important to bank the points up as in the manner that we have. And me and Chris have spoke on the pod many times last season. We spoke about it. Margin for error, it's so important. Boro never gave themselves any last season. We were going into big games feeling like they were must-wins. Now we can go to Southampton and the pressure's almost off Boro because, let's try and not lose. But if we draw, it's not a disaster. It's not a disaster by the position that we've put ourselves in. And, you want to always look at that 2 points per game sort of trajectory that you want to stay as close to as possible. 2 points per game would be 12 points. We're 4 points clear of that. Already 16 points from 6 games is such an immense turnaround. And when you look at the games coming up, we've got trips to Southampton, trips to Pompey, Stoke to come at home. The next 4, I still think, will be very, very difficult. But if we can navigate them and still come out of it anywhere near 20 points, I still think that's an outstanding start. There will be a drop-off. There will be. And we've got to be ready for that. And when Boro do inevitably stop winning games, which will happen, we've got to be ready for it. We've got to make sure we don't overreact and we just bounce back from it, because when it happens, it will suck. But we've gave ourselves a fantastic platform so far to hopefully, if we do have a blip, still have enough points banked up so we can get back in form and still be up in and around the top end of the championship. So yeah, I'm not really, as I say, nailing my flag to the mast yet until after 10 games in, but I am certainly going to rejoice looking at that league table and seeing Boro sitting pretty at the top of it, and that's where we will remain until next weekend when we do go to Southampton. Be interesting to see how they get on at Hull and if they're any closer to clicking just yet. But that is it, guys, for a fantastic, another brilliant episode. I mean, it's just great to constantly talk about Boro winning games. I am going to quickly, though, cheekily plug on my other channel. I do have a gaming channel, ladies and gentlemen, and I have started an FC26 career mode on that channel, managing the mighty Boro. I can tell you, even though by now I think only one episode has dropped, maybe two, I am quite a long way into that career mode already. It's not going as well as what Boro are in real life, but I'm really, really enjoying it. So if you're a fan of FIFA or gaming or Boro or whatever, and you want to see me play a bit of FC26, head over to my gaming channel. Link will be in the description and will be at the end of the video. But until next time, guys, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, hit a like on the video, subscribe for much more, and hit the bell too so you never miss when a video drops. Subscribe as well on the podcast providers, as you can listen to these on the go if you so wish. And do leave me a comment below with your thoughts on this game, this result from both the Boro and even a West Brom perspective as well. But until next time, enjoy your weekend, Boro fans. Enjoy your week, because no matter what happens, we are top of the league. I'll see you all in the next one.